Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with the story of the conflict between the parents of the OP and the HOA members. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. HOA Problems. My parents built a playhouse for my younger siblings, and our local HOA claimed it was a storage shed and that it was on our neighbor's property. My dad knew it wasn't because he'd worked with the neighbor, let's call him Rick, to make sure it wasn't on his property. Long story short, my dad and Rick went to an HOA meeting. They pulled all the stops for this, taking measurements and pictures, outlining the yards from aerial photos. They even got a surveyor to take a look. The HOA's response was this: "It looks like a shed, so it needs to go away." My dad was extremely pissed and damn near cussed out the board members, so he went home and hatched a plan. He convinced all the people on our block to build playhouses or sheds. Most people did. The HOA went backcrap crazy, but they lost because the block showed pictures of the sheds and also managed to vote off some of the members a little while later. And our second story. Stealing payment account from Microsoft scammer. Since a couple of months, I've been busy wasting and trolling scammers' time so they get to steal less money from people. These people cold call everyone claiming to be Microsoft, the IRS, that you want a free cruise, or that you want a free gift card. They also use fake pop-ups and web browsers that tell victims their computer is infected by a virus, that your personal information is being hacked, your computer has been blocked, or that your Microsoft/Apple license key is expired. These scammers steal a lot of money this way from mostly elderly people and people that don't have much computer knowledge. The problem is getting bigger and bigger, and these people are great to troll. I've been doing this for a while now, and we're finding a lot of new ways to piss these criminals off. We utilize call flutters to disable their phone lines. We pretend to be a victim and use fake virtual computers to connect them and to waste hours and hours of their time. This act of pretending to be the victim is scam baiting. We also find out information on them to report to authorities, although they don't do much, sadly. We've made a lot of scammers change their phone number or shut them down completely by our continuous actions. Now for my revenge story. I was dialing a scammer pretending that my computer had the fake pop-up alert with their number on it. I followed the steps he told me to make him enter my virtual computer, a safe environment that if they damage, I can just restore easily with one button. He was showing me all the fake lies by running the command box tree command to index all your files, and then while it's indexing, type a message in there that my PC was infected. He next ran netstat in the command prompt and told me the foreign addresses where hackers had established a connection on my machine. At this point, he opened a window called misinfo32 to look at my system specs. As my virtual machine was made stealthy, I thought he would find out that I'm a pranker, as they usually call us. To my surprise, this scammer was a rookie and didn't even notice at all that it showed VirtualBox in the system model line. I love having rookie scammers on the line as they're easy to get information from, and I had a feeling this call would get something interesting going. A minute later, my feeling became real as he opened his payment account on my virtual machine. As he logged in, I distracted him and clicked on Store Passwords, which was displayed in my native language, so he didn't notice he did. Next, I played along his dumb scam a little longer, filled in all the information in the payment form, and while doing so, I disconnected him and pretended my internet went. I quickly went into his account settings and changed the password and hung up the phone call. At first, I thought there wasn't any transaction made, but shortly I found out there was a lot of stolen money made by him. I decided to call them back later, and they didn't even understand what happened. They said they had a connection problem for transactions and told me I could pay with iTunes gift cards instead. Sadly, they could still scam people this way, but it's a lot less likely a victim would fall for the iTunes gift card payment thing. All in all, this was a nice setback for them and good revenge from my side. A couple days later, I can still log into their account. They apparently didn't set up any recovery settings. I couldn't refund the victims, but the information was passed on to authorities. And our last story. I am your supervisor. You're fired. It's 2014. I separate from the military, looking for any job really to get myself set up and off unemployment. When you separate from the military, you're allowed to go on unemployment like anyone if they lost their job. I found a job in a security company. Cool, simple enough. Still have my certificates like CPR, first aid, and AED, automated external defibrillator. I go to orientation and get my guard card and all that set up. We're given a lot of company information and customer information. Basically, the security company is hired to secure buildings for other companies. Common thing. I get my first post and it's real relaxed. People are friendly, staff is friendly, I like it. Everyone's doing their job well. Feels good for once. I don't have to stress about my workmates being B-turds. A few weeks go by, we lose someone on my shift. Damn, okay, they were great. I wish them the best. A week later, we get a new guy. Let's call him Mark. Let me tell you this. I wasn't prepared for the poor quality this guy would bring to the shift. He was slow, back-talked everything, always had his phone out in front of customers. The most off-putting thing about him was how he breathed like he was sucking in air harder than a vacuum. Kinda an exaggeration, but you get the point. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to try and be political about this. I'm his coworker after all. First time I approach him, "Hey Mark, could you put your phone away? I don't want the customers to think we don't care." "But I don't care, what does it matter?" Breathing like he's trying to keep a small flame from going out. "Listen, I know it can get boring here, I get that. I even bring my phone out, just not in front of cameras and the customers." Mark does this raspberry laugh. "Listen, you ain't my supervisor. You a security guard like me. Now go away before I tell HR that I'm being harassed." Holy hell, what's wrong with this guy? All I can think is my building will be ruined because of this guy. I should note that our current supervisor didn't give a flying hell. He was about to leave and only had 2 weeks left. Start the exceedingly worst behavior. Soon he started coming into work looking like a slob. He didn't tuck in his shirt, refused to wear the radio, never had his guard card on him, just clear violations for dismissal. Every time I would approach him, trying to deal with him at the lowest level, the response was, "You ain't my supervisor." It was starting to feel like an Archer episode. We usually get 45 minutes for lunch, but we always let each other have an hour. Perk of being in a slow building. He started taking hour 10, then 20, then 30. You get the point. Eventually, he got to the point where he was taking 2-hour lunches, and his reasoning was he had to pray. 2 weeks pass, the supervisor leaves. I'm hoping to get someone new who can fix this crap and I can move on. Turns out they're having issues filling the position, and the one in charge of the building is a zone supervisor, and he has about 6 buildings to watch over. His reply to my complaints is, "I don't have time for this. Handle it on your own." At that point, I just say F it. I start to look for new jobs. I come across a supervisor's position for the same company. My head starts to click, and I start to think about what I could do if I became supervisor. Oh, hell yeah. Mark, you are about to get F'd. I apply for the position, put my absolute best foot forward, even pay to get help making my resume look as good as possible. All the while, I start writing down everything Mark is doing on camera, marking the date, time, and location. A few days go by, I get a call for an interview. I smash the interview like it owed me money. I get a call the next day, and I'm hired to be the supervisor for the building I already work in. I start Monday next week. The crew hears rumors about a new supervisor, but no clear information. The rest of the week, I hear Mark talking crazy crap, telling everyone how the new soup is going to be a P word, how he's not going to do anything. Monday comes and I come in. Now, mind you, supervisors don't wear a uniform. They're allowed to wear regular clothing. Mark says, "All that bitching at me and you don't even bother to come in a uniform? Man, you's a hypocrite." I just smile as I walk up to him. "Can you put your phone away and tuck in your shirt, please?" He looks at me without missing a beat and says, "How many times do I have to tell you? You ain't my supervisor." "Are you refusing to put your phone away?" He just looks at me for a second, looks back to his phone, and says nothing. "Okay," I say. I start to walk away, heading towards my new office. "Quit acting like you some important person. You ain't any different than me." Few hours pass, and I've been on the phone with HR and the shift supervisor. I give them all the information I had and request to fire him. HR confirms that he must be fired and escorted out of the building. When you fire someone at this company, you have to have at least 2 supervisors to escort him. The shift supervisor tells me he'll help me personally. He arrives and he approaches Mark. He looks up at us, then back down at his phone. The shift supervisor gives me a, "Can you believe this guy look?" "Mark," I say, "I'm going to need your badge and radio." You're being let go due to several violations. Gather your stuff and we'll escort you out of the building. Is this a joke? Man, get out of my face before I hit you so hard your butt feels it. You can't do crap to me. You're not a supervisor. Wrong, I say. I am your supervisor. I have been since this morning, and you're fired. He looks toward the shift supervisor, who only nods his head. Mark's taken aback. He doesn't know what to say. He slowly gets up and gathers his things. We're almost out the door when he turns to us. I'm not going to take this lying down. I've done nothing wrong. I'm going to HR and get both you fired. HR were the ones that said to fire you, Mark. At this point, the best thing for you to do is leave and move on. We got him out of the building, and he slowly walked out of sight. Don't know what happened to him after that. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.